So good day everyone. So the topic that I am going to discuss today is about the development of classroom assessment tools for measuring learning outcomes. Or specifically, the topic is about constructing the TOS or the table of specification. So first, um, let's discuss first what are the uses of the table of specification. So table of specification is used in the large-scale test construction. It is also used in classroom level assessment by teachers and also in psychometric scale development. So next, let's move on to the guidelines in preparing table of specification. So what are these guidelines? So the TOS, first define the TOS. The TOS ensures that there is a balance between items that test lower level thinking skills and those which test higher order thinking skills in the test. So the simplest TOS is consist of four columns. So we have in the first column the level of objective to be tested or the topic. In the second column is the statement of the objective or the type of the test. In the third column is the number of items. And in the fourth column is the percentage of particular objective or topic. So TOS also have two ways to prepare. So we have two ways to prepare the table of specification. The first one is the so-called the one-way TOS. So one-way TOS. So in one-way TOS, only the contents are listed down in the left side of the table. And in two-way TOS, so the two-way TOS contents are listed down the left side and the instructional objectives are listed across the top of the table. So what are these instructional objectives? So these instructional objectives are the levels of taxonomy, which includes knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So later on, I will give an example of a one-way TOS and the two-way TOS. Now let's move on to the steps in constructing table of specification. How could we construct table of specification? So first, we need to select a topic. So what are the topic to be made in or chosen in constructing the table of specification? So what are the topics? Next, identify the subtopics to be tested. Next one is identify the levels of taxonomy that are most appropriate to assess the content. Next one is review the types of skills that can be tested under each level. Next one is consider the number of items that will be used on the entire test and the time available. Step 6, based on the time spent or importance of each topic, decide on the number of items that will be used for each subtopic. 7. Distribute the questions across the cognitive levels. So later on, I will teach you how to construct table of specification. So now, let's start with percentage allocation. So how to compute the percentage allocation of the particular objective or topic. Formula. So the formula for the percentage allocation, percentage is equals to hours spent for the topic over the total hours spent in the entire units multiplied by 100. Now let's move on to sample calculation and percentage allocation. So we're going to make or construct the table of specification here. So let's say for example we have here the sample problem. So sample problem, Mrs. Ocampo discussed the topic finding the roots of the quadratic equation in her algebra class. She spent 1.5 hours in teaching simple factoring, 4 hours in completing the square method, and 3.5 hours in solving using the quadratic formula. So first, in constructing the table of specification, you need to tabulate the data set given in the problem. So we have here the topic for the first column, And the second column is the hours spent, or the hours spent in discussing this topic. So the topic first is simple factoring for 1.5 hours, the quadratic formula for 3.5 hours, and the completing the square for 4 hours. Okay, now in the third column, let's compute for the percentage allocation. So in computing the percentage allocation, we have here the formula. Percentage is equals to hours spent for the topic over total hours spent in the entire units multiplied by 100. So applying to this one, so the total hours spent for the simple factoring is 1.5, and the total hours spent for the entire units is 9 hours. So the solution for this one is simple factoring is equals to 1.5 over 9 multiplied by 100. So we have the result 17%. So let's put in 17% in the table. Now let's move on to the quadratic formula. For the quadratic formula, we have 3.5 divided by 9 multiplied by 100. So it is equals to 39%. Next, in completing the square method, we have 4 for the hours spent. So the total time spent is 9 hours. That's why it becomes 4 over 9 multiplied by 100. So it will give the result of 44%. Adding this one percentage, it becomes it will give us a total of 100%. So next, computation of the allocation of the number of items per topic. So let's say, for example, suppose that in the same problem, Mrs. Ocampo wants to make a 50-item examination. So what is the exact allocation of the number of items in each topic? So we have here the previous data. So we have the topic, the hours spent, and the percentage. Now for the fourth column, we're going to solve for the number of items in each topic. So suppose that we have 50-item examination. So what is the number of items, or the distribution of the number of items for each of the topic? So in solving that one, we have the formula for the number of items. So total number of items multiplied by the percentage, or the percentage allocation that we solved previously. So now we have 50 multiplied by 17%. It will give us a result of 9. So let's put it 9. Then for the quadratic formula, 50 multiplied by 39% is 19. So let's put it 19. Then for the completing the square method is 50 multiplied by 44%. So it will give us a result of 20. So adding 22. So adding this one, adding this 3, it will give us a result of 50 total number of items. So now, the example, or these 4 columns, the topic, hours spent, percentage, and the number of items, this is an example of the one-way TOS. Okay? So now, let's add on. So you can also add the placement of the test. Wherein, you can assign where you want to locate these questions to the examination. For example, simple factoring, what are the numbers for the questions in simple factoring? So let's say, for example, I put it 1 to 9 for the simple factoring. For quadratic formula is from items 10 to 28. These are all quadratic formula questions. And for completing the square method, we have 29 to 50. So that is the placement of questions in the examination. So now we have the example, or this example is an example of the one-way TOS, or the simplest form of the TOS. Now let's move on to the next one. So now we're going to convert one-way TOS into two-way TOS. So in two-way TOS, we need to add the levels of taxonomy, which is the knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So let's say, for example, we have here the topic, the hour spent, the percentage, the number of items, and the placement of the test. So these are the things that we solved earlier. So let's have the legend. K is for the knowledge, C is for comprehension, AP is for application, AN is for analysis, S is for synthesis, and E for evaluation. So these are the levels of taxonomy that we're going to add to convert one-way TOS into two-way TOS. Okay? So in allocating this one, the teacher must decide whether what types of levels of taxonomy is present in the following topic. So the teacher must decide. But the teacher must balance the distribution of this topic. Let's say, for example, out of 9 questions, I am going to put 2 questions for the knowledge, 2 questions for the comprehension, 1 question for application, 2 questions for analysis, 1 question for synthesis, and 1 question for evaluation. So adding this all questions, it will come up total number of 9 items or 9 questions. So as you can see, it is well distributed. So 2 1 2 1, it is well balanced. So the questions will depend also to the discipline that is appropriate for the topic you have chosen. Okay, so next, for the quadratic formula, we have 4. For the comprehension, 4. We have AP or application, 4. Then analysis, 3. Synthesis, 2. Evaluation, 2. So I assign that one. So 5 for the knowledge, 5 for comprehension, 5 for application, 5 for analysis, 3 for analysis, 2 for synthesis, and 2 for evaluation. So as you can see, the distribution of questions is not far from the others, but I focus on I focus on the part on the lower thinking skills, which is knowledge, comprehension, and application, since this topic is mathematics. Okay, so next, adding this one, for knowledge we have 11 questions, for comprehension we have 11 questions, for application we have 10 questions, analysis 8 questions, synthesis 5 questions, and evaluation 5 questions. So adding up will give us a total of 50 number of items. Okay, so I will have other tips in preparing the table of specification. So first, don't make it overly detailed. Second, it is best to identify major ideas and skills rather than specific details. Third, identify the levels of taxonomy that are most appropriate to assess the content. Use a cognitive taxonomy that is most appropriate to your discipline. Fifth is weigh the appropriateness of the distribution of the checks against the student's level, the importance of the test, and the amount of time available. So okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for listening.